Ladies and gentlemen, One Punch Man has officially confirmed the reason why Saitama is so overpowered.
What did he say?
Saitama demonstrated his ability to break his limiter during his fight with Garou. But what if I told you that chapter 176 confirmed that he's an evolved human? Those parts of our community are so hyped right now because our analysis has been confirmed bar for bar, word for word by none other than Fubuki.
Nice.
But this isn't the only crazy reveal. What if I also told you that our theory about God has also been confirmed? Yep, and that is why you should hit the notification bell, because we learned that God has orchestrated humanity from the very beginning to find a perfect vessel. Every single chapter of One Punch Man has been completely recontextualized because God had planned to create the Monster Association all along. He manipulated Homo sapiens to evolve from the very beginning of time, but this has backfired. Why, you may ask? Well, Saitama, of course.
Soka.
Saitama is the only hero in the ascended human form without his assistance. The celestial god is the final villain he must confront in order to free Earth from his oppressive grip. The reveal begins in chapter 175. We knew Psykos had a connection with God which made her incredibly powerful, but we never questioned how Psykos made this link and why she decided to make the Monster Association to unseal him. We get to see Fubuki and Psykos were friends in high school. Well, maybe more than just friends.
It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!
With this kiss, Fubuki was sealing Psykos' powers as she was about to surpass her. As we know, Fubuki likes to be the center of attention amongst those around her, hence why she has the Blizzard group made up of all of her simps. However, there was further reasoning for what she did, as Psykos at the age of 17 did what most other teenage girls would do at that age, blabbering on about wiping out the entire of humanity. Hang on, what? In a very flawed, egotistical manner, Fubuki's insecurities took over and she projected her own feelings on top of Psykos. Tatsumaki was a hero and a far superior esper to all of them. Fubuki was reminded of this constantly, which created a void within herself. To fulfill it and gain acknowledgement from not only her sister but the entire world, she aimed to sit at the top, which made her want to stop Psykos' progress, as there'd be no point being there if nobody else was left below her and were eradicated according to her plan. It wasn't because, I don't know, maybe she wanted to kill all of us?
You one crazy ass bitch!
But once again, the manga is displaying the human ego which stops heroes from understanding the truth regarding the human spirit and the strength it provides. And this is the difference between them and Saitama. Saitama has already ascended because he believes in himself, adapting to the new environment just like Adam and Eve did. He's a hero for fun who tackles the problems life presents without selfish ideals or intent. From chapter 172 onwards, we can see that every hero is realizing the truth about Saitama's true power, not only Fubuki in the S-class heroes, but even the NPCs. Keep in mind that Saitama became class A within just roughly 1.5 months of being a hero. He may act or seem dumb, but his straightforward thinking bolsters his strong human spirit, which helps him defeat villains and heroes alike. We can agree that Garou said his strength is the definition of unfair, but beating sense into someone doesn't always work. You have to ideologically convince them as well. Saitama makes those around him embrace themselves and reach their maximum potential. For example, calling out Garou and changing his heart to save the world, or addressing a Mai Mask and telling him to accept himself as the monster he is and to embrace his inner self rather than hide it from society. However, since we do live in a society, it's pretty rotten. As Psykos' infatuation with ending humanity got more and more out of control, she sought the power of the third eye. This would give her the ability to see into the future with the hopes that she'd be able to predict it just like the fortune teller Shibaba. She had the intention of creating an organization that could take over the world to achieve her goal of eradicating normal humans. Unfortunately for Psykos, knowing the truth isn't always the best decision. After excruciatingly painful headaches kept her up at night, she finally awakened her third eye, where she saw the future for the first time. However, it was not what she anticipated. She saw a total mess. She'd screamed to herself that world domination is useless, and that killing all Homo sapiens and starting anew is the only choice. Hang on a second. Homo sapiens? I mean, that's a very oddly specific term to use when just a couple pages before she would refer to them as human beings. It's almost like it's not her.
Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, that's right, the celestial being known as God is once again manipulating the weakness of those that detest humanity, just like he did with Homeless Emperor and Vaccine Man 2. All three of them held similar beliefs about the destruction of humanity, as well as the light-based powers bestowed upon them by this God. By awakening the third eye, she invited God inside her mind, as by using the real-world interpretation of a third eye, it is the portal to greater consciousness. Spiritually, the third eye represents enlightenment and allows the user to experience clairvoyance, future sight, and out-of-body experiences, all things that link back to Psykos in this chapter. Shibabawa was a clairvoyant and had the power of the third eye too, as Psykos insinuated, especially when you take into consideration that she mysteriously died after revealing the end of the world was close. Because when you look into the deaths of those blessed by this god's power, Homeless Emperor and Garou, they too died after revealing the truth. We then look at future sight, which both Psykos and Shibabawa achieve, and then finally out-of-body experiences, which relate to Psykos' body being taken over momentarily upon her awakening by God. She's been manipulated to take action upon her desire to eradicate the human race, as they are useless and just eat shit, mate and multiply as much as possible. They are a plague to the earth.
Shit, that's me.
Therefore, humanity needs to be completely reset in order to begin again in a better world. The destruction of humanity, however, isn't actually God's true goal, as he has been coercing the evolution of the human race from the dawn of time, all to free him from his prison on the moon. He does this by giving monsters power to make people want more, making them prone to manipulation. The rise in monsters also increases the probability of a powerful one like Orochi being born as an altar sacrifice. We see on the altar that Orochi discovers that humans are sacrificing different things to a being that resembles himself. However, upon further inspection, we see God atop of it all, whilst the humans offer sacrifices to Orochi, including a number of extinct species, such as prehistoric sea reptiles, dinosaurs, and other creatures. This confirms our theory that God is the source of all life and is ultimately responsible for the course evolution took. The light-based powers he bestows upon his victims is evidence of this, as light is responsible for all life, the production of the air we breathe, the cycles of our oceans, the magnetic fields around our planet, gravity, warmth, and even the weather. But on top of that, Psykos in her fight against Tatsumaki revealed the vision she had for the end goal of human evolution, right from the dawn of time when she envisioned Adam and Eve being manipulated through Orochi, who, as we learn from the altar, is a byproduct of God's interference with life. However, as we already mentioned, Saitama isn't about that Homo sapien life anymore. We know of this because of the House of Evolution's experiments. They sought human perfection through forced evolution, resulting in Zombie Man's creation, but stopped when they realized that Saitama had naturally become the peak of human evolution that they were after. Saitama achieved this by ascending, as this chapter puts it, by tearing off his own limiters. God set these limits to prevent individuals from surpassing their physical capability, otherwise their strength will destroy them until they become mindless monsters. Garou is an example of this. His strength injured him physically in chapter 88, and after losing to Royal Ripper and Bug God, he changed. He broke his limiter, creating the monster we were warned of. He is the first instance of what Psykos, or more specifically God, wanted during her manic episode upon seeing the future. The same future that drove her to found the Monster Association, which gave birth to Garou, who was just a slither away from being the perfect avatar for God's plan before Saitama intervened. Upon her defeat, Fubuki looked into the third eye to witness the future that made Psykos go absolute batshit crazy, which is when she lays her eyes upon God before being interrupted by her simps. This is what causes her to infiltrate her cell in order to learn more about this celestial being, but is instead met by Tsukiyomi, who also wants to research her third eye to gain intel and power, just in more questionable ways.
Ah, you're teasing me, naughty naughty.
So not only is the Hero Association corrupt by taking money from this organization, they also stripped Psykos of all her human rights so that they could use her by any means necessary for their own sense of justice. These wicked ways of society reveal its core to be extremely corrupt in their desire for power. Turns out Garou was correct all along.
Congratulations.
This is where Tatsumaki enters the chat, the one behind the destruction of Saitama's house. The leaders of Tsukuyomi, Fubuki and Tatsumaki then engage in a three-way. No, not that kind. What I mean is that a huge fight then breaks out. However, the entire context of this fight has been changed compared to the original webcomic version. For one, this dude doesn't exist, so just forget him. And secondly, Fubuki and Tatsumaki fight each other because Tatsumaki wants to kill Psykos and lectures her sister about abandoning her friends, going as far to say that coexistence, dependence and connections with others are worthless and that she will cut all the threads coming off of Fubuki. But we felt this to be oddly hypocritical considering that she was saved by Genos during the Monster Association War, proving the importance of having friends and saving others like a true hero. This narrative has been better adopted in the manga version, as rather than killing Psykos, she's instead saving her life in tandem with her sister, so that she can spare somebody else the pain she went through at the hands of the Tsukuyomi group. During all of this commotion though, the floor is just casually ripped open as Saitama is sent falling to his doom as he enters a pit infested with demon level threat monsters. Ah, who am I kidding? The only ones falling to their doom here are the monsters, let's be real. And if for some reason you didn't know just how powerful Saitama is, then 1, I'd recommend probably rereading the manga, and 2, watch this video where we expand more on what we've talked about today.